Hello, everyone. I'm Maddox Brown, New England MMA News, and I am here with the NEF Lightweight Champion, Jarrod St. Jean. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Uh, we're gonna get right into it. This past weekend, you took on Jesus Colin for the NEF Lightweight title. Can you break down the finishing sequence that won you that title?
Sure. So we started on the feet, exchanging jabs, pretty light, pitter patter, just exchanging jabs. I caught him with the left as he was moving forward, dropped him in. I thought I was gonna finish him with the ground and pound. I thought the ref was gonna call it after I landed two, three hard shots, and he didn't. And then he wrapped on a a leg lock real tight. We were still dry, so he was able to grab my leg pretty tight. Um, he couldn't like finish because I heard his coaches they were trying to tell him to turn over for the heel hook. He couldn't do it. And he left his foot right open as he was I can't think of the move right now, but he had his foot across, and I just wrapped the heel hook and finished real hard, and he tapped out.
Can you walk us through the game plan you had going into the fight?
So for me, the game plan it was hard because I was I got injured a lot in my camp, my knee. So I couldn't grapple as much as I wanted to. So I was doing a lot of mitts and striking this camp. Just trying to get comfortable, really keeping things real light, minimal contact. And obviously we were going into this expecting more grappling from me. He seemed very confident on the feet with not a lot of grappling experience and didn't seem too well from what we've seen on footage. So it was hard for me to believe my grappling when I haven't been grappling the entire camp. So I was willing to stand and let my hands go a little bit more. I was feeling comfortable, especially doing mitts the entire time. So we were just I was getting ready to grapple, trying to get those hands going, find my openings, create those volleys between us because he likes to throw, likes to counter strike. So we were expecting for me to throw, him to throw, and then I would take him down from there. But just didn't happen that way. It just happened to catch him real good. I feel like my striking is significantly improved. I found his chin, dropped him, and then he wrapped the leg, and then I finished him. But yeah, really expecting more grappling for myself, but I just felt real comfortable with the hands, and we can see those improvements in the fight.
Did he surprise you with anything, or did he do like what you guys expected him to do?
Maybe it was just early in the fight. We were expecting him to let the hands go a little bit more. Maybe it was just that feeling out process. He, I certainly was not expecting a heel hook or a leg entanglement. I was completely caught me off guard. I think my placement might have been pretty off, giving him that leg. But I certainly wasn't ready for him to grab it as fast as he did, and with the confidence he had it with. But I was really expecting him to start throwing a lot more hands. But I think it was just because it was early. We were just feeling each other out for the most part.
What was your mindset like leading up to the fight and during the fight?
Going into the fight, I wanted to say just really staying loose, staying composed. I feel like I've gotten better every fight. Um, keeping just staying, just not getting overwhelmed by the moment. Making sure I've kind of like sound where I am, what I'm doing, and I've gotten more confident every fight I've done. So going into it, I'd say really just staying loose, not staying so stiff. So when I'm stiff, I'm usually throwing a lot slower. So I felt like my strikes were definitely faster. I felt better. Going into the fight, um, just making sure I was staying loose, staying smart, and just doing what we trained, expecting certain attacks from where he's going to be and when he switches stance. But we didn't really get to see that too much because it was a quick finish. So worked out.
Did you feel any significant changes in your performance compared to your past fights?
Um, felt comfortable. I didn't let the moment overwhelm me or didn't really shy away from anything. I just felt comfortable with where I was and what I could do.
Can you describe the emotions you had immediately after you finished that fight?
Oh man, it felt awesome. I was working so hard for this camp. All the setbacks in camp, it felt hard to think I could perform my best, pushing through injuries and pushing through all these setbacks, not being able to grapple, not being able to roll. You're watching your teammates push hard, like hard as they can, and it's like you're questioning yourself, like, can you do it? Can you do it yourself? Everyone in the gym, they're going, crazy doing all the normal stuff, and it's you have to do something different to compensate for that. So it was definitely a mental uphill battle for me, making sure I was doing everything I could possible, doing even more, using the assault bike, like sprinting, doing everything I could other than the physical side of things to make sure I was ready.
Do you have any idea where you'd like to fight next? Like a different promotion, anybody like
Um, Not really, for a person. I was thinking maybe Combat FC again in September. Um, I just want to fight the best. I felt very, very confident going into this one. I felt like my confidence grew as we get near closer to the fight. It just felt, super deterring when you get injured, but as you're getting closer and closer, the injuries kind of start going away, making sure you're at peak performance for coming into the fight. Um, but for the most part, Combat FC in September. I know Rick's a hell of a matchmaker. So I know he'll give me a tough fight for sure. Um, Other than that, I don't really have any names.
did you have any main training partners that helped you this camp that you would like to shout out?
Ooh, I'd say just one of my coaches, Nick Miles, holding mitts for me all the time. He's a wizard when it comes to the hands. Um, I'd say um Noah, um, he was helping me a lot with making sure, keeping things light when we started going to sparring, light sparring and whatnot, showing me good looks for what my opponent was going to throw at me. Brody, when it came to like just mental game and whatnot, because he was kind of in the same boat that I was going into one of his fights, with injuries and whatnot. So that really helped me. Um, it was hard, obviously, Nick Eldritch, he was obviously going in for his fight, so we were going back and forth pretty light on the stand up. So it was hard for me because I wasn't really obviously doing the live, so it was a lot of me doing my own thing. So it felt pretty lonely in this camp. So but thanks to those guys, everyone else at the gym, I know they all put in hard work, but I couldn't be where I was without any of them and all of them. So extremely blessed.
How did you stay mentally focused for your first title fight, considering you had setbacks in camp and injuries?
Um, it was probably something me and Jesus were probably experiencing. We both come from experiences of setbacks, wins and losses. So we were probably both going through the same thing of like this is our only shot at getting a title. So staying mentally, like being afraid is a good thing. Like escape being scared is a good thing. Keeps you sharp. Um, it keeps you mentally aware. So I felt fast. I just felt like this was like my only. I was kind of running with that mindset of like this is my only shot, and I have to make it count like 100%. And I felt like me and him were probably in that same boat. So it was just kind of like that all or nothing mentality going into this one.
What did you learn from this fight, and how will you apply it to your future fights?
Believe in the hands. Believe in the hands. I'm getting more comfortable. I wasn't shying away from punches. Maybe that was just because of the size disparity. I felt like a lot of my other opponents have been maybe longer or taller, where I felt like I haven't been able to counter strike as well, or I felt like I wasn't as confident and I was really shying away, kind of like hiding, running from punches. I didn't feel that in this one. I just felt extremely confident. Like I was not to say untouchable, but I felt like I was believing in the hands a lot, believing in what I could do. And I feel like I'm only just going to ride that momentum into every fight after this.
What were some weaknesses you saw in Jesus' game, and how did you exploit them?
We were expecting a lot of hooks, a lot of lunging hooks. So he was gonna like swing really hard and bring like that rear foot forward. So we were expecting a lot of heavy hooks. So being on the outside as much. So staying light, counter like throwing, make him throw, and then being on the outer end and counter striking off that. Weaving in my kicks in between those strikes. I threw one, but I wasn't as I threw one of them. It got through. I was expecting more kicks, but obviously the fight got where it did. for me, I'd probably need to throw, obviously not just one strike at a time, obviously throwing two and three more strikes after that. So it was just obviously you said weaknesses, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We so yeah, yeah, heavy strikes, hooks. He's got a lot of volume when he does decide to throw. And definitely anywhere on the ground, I felt like I was going to be more dominant in any position it was going to be.
What role did your coaches and teammates play in your preparation for this fight?
Ooh, Coach Devin, I'd say jujitsu. Coach Nick, my hand striking. He was with me. I'd say all of camp, holding mitts, making sure I was moving right, flowing right. Um, he watches a lot of film and he builds these combinations based off what he sees from my opponent and what he believes is going to be there. So I have 100% confidence in him and my striking. I had Coach Ross, our wrestling coach. I was using him as we have very similar sparring and fighting styles. Um, and as I was going to use my wrestling to take him down, so I like having him in my corner.
What initially drew you to the sport of MMA?
Oh man. I think I was like bullied when I was like 10 on a school bus. Um, or I think it was even younger than that. I was like bullied on a school bus or something. My parents threw me in like the nearest MMA gym. I think I was like 8 at the time. I didn't like it, so I did it for like a month. And then it was like 2 years later, I was like, why did we stop? And then I was like 10, and then I started training like full time, and my parents just didn't stop um driving me to class. So I went every day ever since I was like 10. Um, trained all the way till like 16, 19, all the way up. And then I started fighting and I was just like, I won my first one. I was like, let's see where this goes. And I loved it after that.
Who are some of your biggest inspirations in the sport of MMA?
To be honest, as a kid, I never really watched MMA. So I mean, I'm still trying to catch up with a lot of the guys who fight and whatnot. So I feel super embarrassed when people ask me like that. I don't really have a solid answer, I suppose, but uh I don't know. I really don't have a solid answer for on that one. I like bits and pieces of everyone, their fighting styles. When it comes to fighters' backgrounds, I don't really have an answer for that one. But yeah, sorry.
What does fighting mean to you?
Oh, I like the competitiveness of it. And in the gym, you're you don't have to say you're trying to be the best, but you're trying to constantly grow, trying to get better. I love being around hungry teammates and hungry guys. We're all trying to be the best. And I love the energy that we feed off of each other, striving to be better versions of ourselves and compete at the highest level.
What are some of your favorite hobbies outside of fighting and training?
Hobbies outside of fighting and training. Outside of fighting and training, I suppose eating. I love food, so I'm constantly eating. It's so bad for cutting weight though. It's horrible. Um, Hobbies. I mean, this is kind of a hobby for me. I mean, I love doing this. I mean, I'm here all the time. Um, I mean, I guess I play a lot of video games right now, so not too much outside of training. So Um, yeah, that's all I got right now. So,
What was going through your head when you got into the cage? Like, what were you thinking? Yeah.
well, for me, it didn't feel. I guess I didn't feel a lot of pressure. I was fighting away from my hometown. Didn't really, or my home area. It was a new environment for me. I didn't really feel like there's a lot of stress. I had my family, close group of friends, family. So I just didn't really feel a whole lot of stress. I just felt loose. I just felt like I was just doing my job. I was there just another day, and I was just doing my own thing. So I just didn't really have a whole lot of stress. Like, oh man, I have to compete. All my friends, all my family, kids from high school are going to be there. Like, I just didn't really care. I just felt I was like just doing my job. So,
What are your long-term goals in MMA?
um, with the way Miami career is going, get a couple more belts. Um, See where that, fight the best in the area, then probably go pro some point. Now that I'm NEF champion, I see my amateur career winding down. and I don't see too much um, going forward for my MMA career. Maybe one or two more fights. Obviously, I'll have to see what happens, after the next one. But I don't see I see my amateur career fizzling out pretty soon.
Do you have any special shout outs to sponsors, supporters, and teammates before I let you go?
Everyone at the gym, you guys are my biggest supporters, training partners. I couldn't do what I do without you guys. All the experience you guys bring, all the knowledge, they all come from different backgrounds and experiences. So anything helps, any and all information helps, and I couldn't be there without you guys. My friends at home, I love you guys. You guys are all my biggest supporters outside of this. Couldn't be doing what I do without you guys. Family, dude, I couldn't be here without them either. They're my biggest supporters. My sponsors, Mr. Q's Billiards, Gibbs Construction, Cameron Chiropractic, Olympia Builders, Precision Crane, the Nest Pub and Grill, Riley Pierce. You guys all make me allow me to do what I do, what I love to do, and I couldn't be here without it. I couldn't be. I'm a better person for it, and you guys, I love you guys. You guys help me do what I do. So thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming on.
No problem, man. Thank you.